Hey guys, Bladen here. Welcome back to part 2 of my Ghostrunner movement tutorial. In this video I'll be covering the advanced speed tech that goes into running this game. So if you're still a new runner, I suggest going back to watch the basic section, which will be linked in the description. This video will feature both hard speed tech that makes a big difference, and easy speed tech that didn't feel important enough to include in the basic tutorial. So without further ado, let's get into it. For our first speed tech, we have double dashing. Double dashing is done by dashing off a wall then immediately performing a quick air dash, essentially 2 rapid dash inputs. This covers roughly the same amount of distance as if you were to not air dash right away, except you build up speed much quicker. This tech is best used for times where you're on a wall and don't need to wall climb at all, just cover a lot of horizontal distance. This next tech will make use of jump boost uplinks. As you know, these uplinks will give you a much bigger jump, but there's a way to make it even bigger. By jumping with the uplink active, dashing back into the ground, then jumping again, you get launched considerably higher. This is called a moon jump. You can control how much height the moon jump adds by changing how soon or late you perform the second jump. The later you jump, the more height it adds. Too late though, and it won't work at all. Moon jumps are handy for covering large distances, but having to dash into the ground and jump again can be a hindrance sometimes. Luckily, there's a way to achieve maximum power from the moon jump without having to jump a second time. By moving into a wall or object as you use the jump boost, you'll get launched at the maximum moon jump power with a single jump. This is a super moon jump, or SMJ for short. This is a pretty niche tech because most jump boost uplinks are in open areas with not many nearby walls. Additionally, it makes you jump unnecessarily high most of the time. As a result, it's pretty rare to see a super moon jump preferable over a regular moon jump. Nonetheless, it exists. Continuing with the theme of big jumps, let's talk about jump pads. Jump pads launch the player a great distance when stepped on, and are exclusive to Cybervoid segments. The trick we can do though is dash just before being launched by the jump pad. This adds an additional speed of 10 meters per second while you're in the air. Unfortunately, we don't have our dash ability in any of the Cybervoid segments except the monster. In this single level though, it does see quite a few uses. It lets us make faster wall cycles for the Young Bull special, and is an integral part to the invisible grapple skill. While the extra 10 meters per second is nice and all, we can still bump it up a notch. Enter S-tapping. At a first glance, this tech is pretty simple, but it can actually get a little complex. When holding forward in the air, your speed caps out at 10 meters per second. If you're already moving faster than that, then your speed will regress to that amount. However, if you press your backward key after a short amount of time of being airborne, the speed cap gets raised slightly by a varying amount, usually somewhere around 10 meters per second. You can repress the back key over and over to keep raising the speed cap. So theoretically, you could gain an infinite amount of speed with this tech. Unfortunately though, we don't have the luxury of being airborne long enough to reach those speeds, but we can definitely still make use of this trick. Jump pads and jump boost uplinks are great synergies with S-tapping, since they give us the most airtime. To get the most out of S-tapping, make sure your first S-tap is done as soon as you jump or get launched from a jump pad. I found that for whatever reason, the first S-tap being timed correctly will give you much more speed than any of the subsequent ones, so it's important to time it well. As you gain more speed, gradually start tapping S more rapidly. It's hard to explain the timing for S-tapping, you really just need to get a feel for it. So over time, with more experience, you should see more success with this trick. Next up, we have a speed tech that is just as jank, if not more jank than S-tapping, introducing the air ground dash, or AGD for short. For whatever reason, if you hold slide off a platform into the air, then dash, it will perform a ground dash instead of an air dash, hence an aerial ground dash. However, there's one small side effect. You plummet to your death. As long as you hold slide the whole time, you can dash as many times as you want, allowing you to build up quite a lot of speed. Enough airtime and you can recharge dashes during the AGD. You can also maintain the slide through grappling. Be careful though, because if you dash too soon while grappling, you'll lose both your slide and your speed. Due to the nature of this tech, it's best utilized in situations where you must fall a great distance or have access to grapples. Another important note is that it's very slow to change directions while using AGDs. Dashing to the side will warp you over, but will then resume the same trajectory you had before, just with a slightly different direction. If you've been in the community for a while, you'll know that AGDs are involved in a certain black magic technique that shall not be named. Luckily, this technique isn't useful in any categories aside from individual levels, so it isn't urgent to know. But if you'd like to become a sinner, check the description. For our next speed tech, we have bunnyhopping. Traditionally, bunnyhopping is performed by jumping and air strafing to build up speed. However, Ghostrunner has a very low speed cap for air strafing. so our hopes and dreams of achieving true bunny hopping are crushed sadly. The definition of bunny hopping in Ghostrunner is simply jumping as soon as you hit the ground. If done correctly, you'll lose barely any speed and it'll be harder to turn. Bunny hopping is barely used in the full speedrun because most of the time it's faster to just perform another DSJ instead of a bunny hop. However, there are two exceptions to this: when you have more speed than a DSJ would give you, and when in the Cyber Void. Looking back at AGDs, it's fairly easy to see that there may be quite a few times where you'll be crashing down into the ground, likely moving faster than you would from a DSJ. This is a perfect opportunity to bunny hop. Fortunately, the timing for bunny hops is much more lenient for hard landing animations, which happens pretty frequently with AGDs. For the second exception, it's pretty rare to ever build up a lot of speed if you're in a Cyber Void segment since you don't have a dash. The only occurrences of having a lot of speed in Cyber Void segments is either from a big ledge boost or a jump pad with more of a horizontal trajectory. The Road to Ambita Cyber Void covers both of these cases pretty nicely. This next tech is not really a movement tech itself, but it indirectly affects your movement, so I figured I'd include it. What I'm referring to is dead angling. This may come as a surprise to most, as dead angling has never been talked about in the community, but quite a few runners already do it subconsciously. Dead angling is a trick that originates from the Soulsport games. By swinging your weapon to the side of an opponent, it circumvents their blocking. Dead angling can even mess with boss AI. Its application to Ghostrunner though is a bit different. In Ghostrunner, there's an aim assist feature that causes you to quickly lock into an enemy when you swing at them. This would be fine if it weren't for a few problems. Locking onto an enemy changes the direction you're moving in, and for whatever reason, enemy corpses still have collisions shortly after death. I bet you can already imagine how this would cause problems in a speedrun where you're constantly swinging at enemies. Just to prove my point, let's look at these two clips. So dead angling can be achieved either by looking to the side before swinging at an enemy, or by swinging extremely early. Doing either prevents aim assist from triggering at all. Personally, I think the latter method is much simpler and easier, but do whatever method you prefer. Once you've got the hang of dead angling, you'll be able to avoid corpse collision, cut tighter corners on arena routes, and keep your momentum. For our last speed tech, we have, in my opinion, one of the sickest pieces of speed tech in the entire game. This, of course, is hack jumps. As you know, Ghostrunner features many hackable platforms and objects, which can move very fast when hacked. If you stand on top and jump off while it's moving, you can actually gain a decent amount of speed. And that's just with a regular jump. Here's what happens with a DSJ. And an SDSJ. Yeah. Really, you can do a quote-unquote hack jump with any moving platform, but hackable platforms tend to have much more potential for higher speeds. The main two spots that we use this are on hackable signs and wheels. Signs will require you to make the jump as you hack it because it only moves while changing between its two states. Wheels, on the other hand, toggle on and off between moving fast and slow motion. So if you're daring, you can actually do it without even hacking it at all. While that is the last big speed tech for this tutorial, there's still a bunch of little tricks that don't require a full explanation, either because they're too simple or aren't prevalent in actual speedruns, so I'll be going through those rapid fire now. Drone hop. Drone hops are performed by jumping much higher above a drone than you usually would. Doing this avoids the steering animation and allows you to actually jump off the drone without losing any speed. So far, this is only used in a single part of the run, at the end of Echoes. It's a neat little trick, though it's not that crucial to learn. Low mantles. Whenever mantling a ledge, try to always do it as low as possible. Mantling is just a mechanic that moves you up and forward, so spacing the mantle properly will let you land on the ledge as soon as the up part is done, letting you move again earlier. Preventing mantles. Speaking of mantles, they can happen literally anywhere, at any time. Fortunately, we can prevent mantles by holding crouch. You can also prevent them by looking perpendicularly away from walls. This is particularly useful for when grapple points are at a ledge, but you don't want to mantle, but rather keep your upward momentum. Canceling wall runs. While there's no way to prevent wall running entirely, you can stop a wall run by pressing crouch during it. Fast Shuriken pickups. Whenever picking up a Shuriken uplink, you can do a quick air dash to allow you to throw the Shuriken sooner. C-tapping. C-tapping is a variation of a ledge jump where you just tap the crouch button instead of holding it. This gives you the ledge boost but doesn't maintain the fast fall for as long, resulting in you losing less height. C-tapping can be used to reach farther distances, though only slightly. You can still manage every ledge jump in the game without C-tapping, though it may be worth getting into a habit of doing. Blink hop. Blink hops are a neat little tech that can be done after blinking to an enemy. If you slide then jump immediately after the blink, you'll get launched up and forward, though it's not that crazy. But since everything in Ghostrunner breaks at low FPS, this is what happens when a blink hop is done at low FPS. FPS limiters are banned though, so no worries there. Wall kick storage. Wall kick storage is a bug that can happen when you die or checkpoint reset while next to a wall or wall running. If you slide hop after respawning, it will give you much more speed than normal and launch you in a fixed direction. This bug is commonly done accidentally, but it is done intentionally for one trick, the easy kick. If you get wall kick storage in the Overlord Cyber Void, you can cross this gap with just a single ledge jump. It's one of the hardest tricks in the game though. Corpse boosting. After talking about dead angling, you probably inferred that corpse collision is pretty wonky and often gets in the way. But in some cases it can actually be beneficial. Since it often launches you upwards, it can be convenient for getting height quickly. Due to its inconsistency though, applications of this trick have not been explored too intensely. Well, that does it for the advanced tutorial. I hope you're able to follow along through all the nitty gritty and didn't get lost. With enough practice in this new speed tech, you'll be a ghost running expert in no time. It's a lot to take in though, so I'm sure you have some burning questions. Feel free to leave a comment, or even better, join the Ghost Running Discord, where you can seek advice from many different runners and make use of great learning resources such as the tech sheets. All of that will be linked in the description. But anyway, thank you all for watching, good luck on your runs through Dharma Tower, and peace out.